and welcome back to Mums in Melanin. My name is Takunbo.
I'm Ayola.
I'm Debbie.
I'm Takoni.
And today we're doing a Father's Day special for you guys.
Yes, so we are addressing the impacts that men have on our children. That could be your godfather, it could be your uncle, it could be your brother on your kids, it could be your child's dad, just generally. So happy Father's Day to everyone. Those that stand in the gap for fathers and fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to you.
Salute you.
So I think the impact of fathers and male influence is very important in society. And not only for your sons and your daughters. I think balance is always important, isn't it? The way you view life. I think two people being different, viewing things differently kind of gives you a good perspective on things. Do you know what I mean? I think for me growing up, was I a daddy's girl? I think I was. From what I can remember, I think I was. Probably because I feel like my mum's like, she'll tell you off quick. I feel like my dad was a little bit softer when we were young. Right? I feel like he was just a bit softer. You know, like he'll take off my cane rolls. You know, like, and he'll take it out gently. My mum's rushing because she wants to do a new hairstyle. My dad's one is just slow and steady. You know, that little cute moments.
That's nice. That's so
I think
cute.
these are things I can remember of my childhood, which I think, you know, it was nice like, having my dad around. I grew up with my dad and my mum at home, and this thing, you know, little things like if you're saying like the stew too peppery, my mum is the kind of person that says to you, eat that food and drink water. My dad be like, no, you shouldn't be making it so spicy. You know that? Like, you kind of just soften the things for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that was nice. I don't know, what was you guys' relationship like with your father?
Yeah, so mine was similar. I was very much a daddy's girl, but my dad wasn't in the house from, I don't know, maybe like 7. But prior to that, and maybe after that actually, I was very much like my dad anyway, because I'm an only girl. So my dad would be like, oh, my cheeky damn, like that's what he used to call me. Yeah,
that's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. So I was very much like, yeah, daddy's here, daddy, can we have McDonald's? If my brothers wanted something, they'll be like, oh, go ask daddy. Because he knows he's not going to say no to me. And I think, it's nice, isn't it? Like I have fond memories. So my love of music, funny enough, comes from my dad, because we'll be in the car and he had one brown cassette tape, and it was playing all the R&B songs, all the old school R&B. That's where my love came for it, and it's back to him. And which is so random to me because my dad, I don't know, you wouldn't put R&B and my dad together. But yeah, like, so things I can remember. You know, you wouldn't put the two together, but that's where it came from. So it's funny how things like that have, you know, impacted me and shaped part of who I am.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then obviously, I guess on the flip side, him not being around has also impacted me as well. So where like you said, you had both parents in the household. For me, I guess it was just like, okay, my mum. So I see my mum as, you know, the doer of all things kind of thing. And that's kind of made me like the same. So I'm very much like, if something needs to be done, I'm just going to do it because who else is there? But actually, even if there is someone else to do it, I'm so used to seeing my mum do everything that's the mentality that I've adopted. And I guess as time has gone on and, you know, situations being what they are, the relationship has distance between me and my dad, which to be fair, I'm very much fine with. But I guess I will never fully know the impact that it's had on me unless I was to sit down and speak to somebody and actually unravel every little thing. But for the most part, I think I'm a well-rounded human being. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have daddy issues. I rebuke it in Jesus' name. That's not my portion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I do believe that fathers have a big impact on daughters, but more so on sons, just because boys need somebody to look up to that looks like them. So the same way I said I looked to my mum, I feel like boys need somebody to look to. Your mum can only carry you so far. Your mum can't tell you like, your mum can say you need to wee standing up, but you never see your mum wee standing up. Do you know what I mean? So it's things that only a father can say, like, you know, this is how you're meant to treat a woman. This is how you're meant to do. This is how you tie a tie. Like things like that. It's not something I need to learn. I think I learned how to tie a tie when I worked like one waitress job that they made me wear a tie. Do you know what I mean? So it's things like that, and just how to just be an honourable person, like the morals and values that a man should have. It's one thing for a woman to say a man should never put his hands on a woman, a man should do this, a man should do that. But it's another thing for a man to say, this is what I do, this is what you need to do, let's do it.
Or
do you know what I
to
mean?
even see it.
Yeah, yeah.
But they can see the way he's treating
Yeah,
women,
yeah,
the way
yeah.
do you know what I mean? They can
Yeah.
now know, okay, I should be like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me and my dad, so I was in a single parent household. My dad never lived in a house. And you know that when you're young, you don't realise it's a thing. Only when I got into secondary school and older, I realised, oh, single parent. Mate, all my mates, none of us had our dads.
Yeah.
It was normal as two parents, you know what I mean? And it wasn't a thing. Like, my dad lived in Nigeria, he'd come maybe once or twice a year. I loved him, do you know what I mean? When he'd come, I was so excited. And my mum, it grinded her gears. You know, she's like, why do you love your dad so much? You know what I mean? And she never said anything negative about him.
Yeah.
But I didn't, only when I got older, I understood what she meant in those little comments. Do you know what I mean? I understood more of what happened between the two. I understood more about it. So actually, for her, it's like, right, you're leaping for joy with this guy, but I'm with you day in, day out. And you're not paying me, do you know what I mean? The same affection you give to him that comes around once every 6 months. So I got it as I grew older. And I think, but by the time maybe I was in secondary school, he wasn't coming as frequently. And we're distant. Kind of similar to Debbie. It's fine by me, do you know what I mean? Like men, if you want to be here, you be here. If you don't want to be here, you do, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I just, I think when you're young, it is nice to have, do you know what I mean? It's nice to have, and not only that, it's nice to have uncles, it's nice to have grandparents. I didn't have my grandparents in this country, and I would have loved it. Like, my son loves his grandma, do you know what I mean? It's just, the family unit, the family unit is just nice. Not everyone has it, but you see the kind of blessing in having that family unit. So it's very nice,
For me, it was very different. So I grew up in a single parent household. My mum, I never had a relationship with my dad at all. So we spoke on and off until I was 7. He was in Nigeria. And he kept on saying he's coming. Oh, coming, I'm getting on next flight. How many years later, babes? But yeah, so we didn't have a relationship. But what I did have is I still had that male role model. So one of my uncles, which I grew up calling him daddy, was like a father figure. He's now passed, so rest in peace. But you know, that was like my father figure, and having him 100% had a huge impact. Although I didn't have my biological father, my father, like my uncle obviously had his own son, he had his own child, but he was like my dad. And he had a big, huge impact in my life in terms of even like just mannerisms around education. Even though my mum, obviously, education's important to most Nigerian families anyway, but he really pushed that. He would sit me down, actually study with me, like do my times tables and stuff like that. And also seeing, he's married as well, so he has a wife. Also seeing that husband and wife, even though it wasn't in my home, I still saw what it looks like and the beauty of that as well. So for me, I took it on to I was really passionate, and obviously you can't control everything in life, but it was important to me that my children's dad was around, and he was definitely, you know, there, you know what I mean? Because I missed out on that. And obviously you can't control if things happen, innit? But, you know, I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, like I did have a male role model, and it's really important. I think it is important, if it's not, you know, biological father, to have like an uncle or someone that, you know, gives you that different perspective on things, you know, from a male's point of view, you know.
It's funny that you say that, because now that I think about it, not having my dad around really made me adamant that my children's father will be around. So obviously Kiana doesn't have the same father as I and Amara, but I've always been adamant that her dad needs to be in her life, and that's just from the get-go. Like, even when we broke up, you're gonna be a father by fire, by force. That's it. Do you know what I mean? Especially because I had a girl as well, and I knew what it felt like to have an absent father. I never wanted that for her. So even though our relationship broke down, I was like, you know, this is your dad. Go and see, like, be with your daughter. And now they have a great relationship. Like, I always hear them talking on the phone, and every morning he messages her or they speak, and I love that, because I didn't have that. So I'm happy that she has that. And then also having Charles now, it's like, okay, she's got it again. So Charles has been very good with Kiana. So like, it's different to how her relationship is with her dad, because I guess you're only ever going to have one father. But it's nice to know that, I asked her one time, if something happened, who you calling? Like, I'll call you, I'll call my dad, then I'll call Uncle Charles. I was like, okay. Like, so she, you know, I was like, okay, so who is he to you? She was like, he's my stepdad. I was like, okay. Because these are things I would never put anything into her mouth. I would never be like, you need to call him dad, or you need to, because do what makes you feel comfortable. And knowing that, okay, it's in her head, like, yeah, this is, he's, the next parent figure for me is nice to know. And the same with the younger two, like I'm very adamant that actually these are your children as well. As much as I'm a very much an overbearing mother, they still have a father, and he's very much involved in their lives. Amara's a daddy's girl through and through. Like, she's me when I was that age, and it's nice to see. So I'm like, listen, carry her well, because I know do you know what I mean? So I think how things have happened in our lives will always navigate and direct how things happen in our children's lives, or how we want things to happen in our children's lives. So
I think naturally as people, there's good and bad to everything. You take the good from each experience, you know what I mean? So like you're saying, there's elements of obviously your relationship with your dad that you love, and you want to see it in your day to day. So for even me, when I was a child, my dad's a very, very protective person, like very protective, like so much so I think one boy was trying to knock at my gate. I was like, my dad will box you. Like, my dad one of those, so he will actually come. But in some ways, I think when I was young, growing up, I always wanted that macho man. I'm like, like when I have my kids, this man's gonna come and get you. Like, you know what I mean? It's mad. It sounds crazy, but I knew that like no one can mess with me or my family when my dad's around. Like he's solid. Like, and I love that. It's that kind of protect the family. And funny enough, when I was getting married or dating or whatever, it was a big thing for me to see someone who will protect my family with my children, someone who will protect his kids, someone that's do you know what I mean? Ready to step forward regardless what's in front of him. Even if I have to be like, please no, don't step. I'd rather you're someone who's going to do that. So it's funny because with our upbringing, you just see that you pick the good from both sides, mum and dad, and you kind of implement into your day to day. Do you know what I mean?
But it's interesting because in psychology, they talk about, women, girls going for like their future partner to be more like their dad, and then boys do the same thing with their mum, so they get with someone similar to their mum. So like you're talking about the masculine, really ready to protect and stuff, you end up kind of falling in love with.
That's so funny because I've said this, man. The girl, Charles is like my dad to the point like everything. They're both the same star sign. They love the same football team. They have the same mannerisms. I said, come and see, look.
That is crazy because I didn't even know my dad, but their names are very similar. Just their names are very similar.
What about their characters as well? Do they have like similarities?
I didn't know my dad.
Okay.
So, but then when I look at characteristics and like that type of way, it's more like the man I grew up. Like my uncle that was like that was my dad. And the same kind of like.
It's interesting though, because therefore I think for us, I suppose what we grow up to like is what we know. But you fall in love with your familiar.
What you're comfortable. You find that comfort in it because it's what you're used to.
Because a lot of people that you meet, they're good people. They take it, but there's just something. And when it's something that's that, you just don't have that.
You don't. She said, not me. But also touching on what you said about not having your biological parent raising you. Also, I have 4 brothers and they have a very, their input, okay, maybe not all of them, but the one before me, Terry, has a very big impact on my children because obviously we're close in distance in terms of geographical. So them seeing him and then him asking, okay, what's happening? He'll be like, oh, what's happening? Let me see Isaiah. Just because, he's very much, and he had that impact on me as well. He's my older brother. So when my dad wasn't around, it's always Terry and Tammy. That's how it was. So when anything was happening, I'll be like, oh, Terry, this is what's happening. He'd be like, okay, this is what we need. And where his stature as well, he's so tall. He's 6'7". He's a big guy. Who you call? There's that trend on TikTok. Who you calling if you get in trouble and they show their dads? I'm like, this my brother. Don't make me call my brother. You dumb fam. Shut up. And I'll be running my mouth like Terry. Can I? Do you know what I mean? Because that's who I look to, and my children are like, oh, where's Uncle Terry? And they see him like this big guy, this the figure that they see. Obviously, they know his uncle, isn't it? The dad is around. But in terms of impact and influence as well, there's so many different men that contribute to this, and I think I love seeing that because I don't really remember uncles when I was growing up. Because it's just,
I was just gonna touch on that. I think, funny enough, just that's what you're saying. I think because I saw uncles, but I feel like they were uncles. There was a huge age gap. Do you know what I mean? My mum didn't really have younger uncles that was here in this country. That kind of felt like the middle ground between me and my mum is the uncle. Do you know what I mean? They're all just. They're all actually older than my mum. So
they didn't play with you. They weren't
How are you?
for lunch
How's
or dinner?
Are you doing
but
well?
my brother, like now with my son, my brother is 18. He's younger than me, and it's just to say that you don't have to have an older sibling. You can
that's like my younger sibling as well.
Like he was with him last night actually when I went out to enjoy myself.
Literally,
and like. The things that my younger brother has energy to do with my son. It's true. Because his parents are working people. My son's parents are working people. We get tired, we want to rest sometimes. The things my brother has energy to do with my son. It's just so nice. He looks so forward. He looks forward to seeing my brother all the time. Every second is, where's Uncle Temmie? What's Uncle Temmie? We're coming on the phone. Things that he's learned with like football.
It's for him.
It's for him. Like, he's like, oh mum, let me show you. And now he's actually gotten so much better with football because we're spending time with my brother. And my brother would want to come. It's nice.
It's nice.
And it goes to show again, like, I think it's still an influence of some sort. Do you know what I mean? They don't have to be 30, 40, or whatever. You're still showing him something about life that you've learned in your journey. Do you know what I mean? So it could be anyone. But I do think that male figure it's important. It's little things, even like his haircut, but like make sure you don't get too close to his hairline, you know? You know, little things like it's nice, it's good, it's healthy, isn't it?
Even I've got a cousin and him and Roman, they play. It's just so sweet to see. And I was talking to my cousin the other day, really, it's a rip tangent. But we were talking about like sex, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? As a man, okay, it's gonna be really weird. We're talking like I can't really explain it, but we're talking about sex. You know what I mean? And like I guess as a man, and I guess as a single man, do you know what I mean? And how you approach that chapter in your life. Do you know what I mean? If you're not celibate, so we're talking about that. And the way I was talking to him, I was like, nah. See, when my son becomes a teenager, you're going to sit him down and talk to him about sex. Because your perspective, it wasn't like my perspective. Because when I'm going to talk to my kids, I'm going to really give a good religious context to it all. Do you know what I mean? But it was just a sensible, a very kind of logical, just in this day and age. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to sleep with someone, you don't sleep with them without a condom. Do you know what I mean? And that's important. So fair enough. My hope is that, you know, you do things my way. But if you don't, have this one in your brain, do you know what I mean? Like, just know this one. And it was just very plain. And remember, it's a grown man talking to a grown woman. But it was just, even me, I was learning stuff as me and him were talking. And I was like, like, this is how, because it'll be very different from the way me and my husband are going to speak to our kids. Do you know what I mean? So I agree, like, multiple influences, positive influences.
Just giving that well-rounded, like,
well-rounded. Do you know what I mean? Well-rounded.
And there's some things, as much as we love to believe that children will come to talk to us about everything, we love to believe that. There are some things that, even when I was growing up, I wanted to speak to like a younger cousin about rather than my mum. Not because there was anything to hide, but just because I felt like they might be able to relate.
Understand it better.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think it's important to just embrace that influence. And it doesn't, like you said, like you had an uncle who was more or less like a dad. You know he's not your dad, but you're happy in his position. You're happy with what he gave you. Do you know what I mean? And it helped the woman you are today. And I think we have to be open to that. Like there's really nothing wrong with it. It's a good thing. Like, you know.
Can I also say, I feel like dads don't get enough credit. Even like with Father's Day, we acknowledge it, but Mother's Day is a big deal. It's a big deal. You don't think so? I think Mother's Day is so much more. I'm not talking about within that. I'm talking about generally in society. Do you think Father's Day is a big thing?
Not Father's Day, but I think with dads, any little thing. If you see a dad walking on the road with his 2 young children, stop. If you see a mum, she's struggling automatically. Do you know what I mean? It's like the gaze is different. Like a dad taking.
But that's
struggling automatically. The gaze, the lens we're looking through is different.
But you know
why? Dad taking 4 kids to soft play. It's like, wow, this one. Chairman of the he's the king of that. You see a woman, it's casual. What do you mean? The same with her kids. What's that?
But I'm looking at it from the perspective of society, like the fact that there's 2 Mother's Days, not like we have mum. I know that what I'm saying, but in Father's Day is all over the world is the same, right? The only should be, well, how many more days do you need? Do you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. Yes, in that aspect, yes, but world renowned Father's Day is like, okay, you know, well done, Dad, you know, you're here, you do your job. But actually, there's fathers that are single fathers.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Level, yeah.
And yeah, like they're still looked at like, yeah, oh wow, it's amazing. Whereas single mothers are not really getting that hype as well. But no, like credit where credit's due. You're doing the damn thing.
100%.
You're raising these children. You know, like the good fathers, the good male role models. Like you're doing your thing. And yeah, I just want to give you a literally the accolades. You deserve it. Yeah, no, she's been waiting to say that. Say it so they can hear you, please. No. Silence. Understood.
Those are no. Okay, but kind of going off on a tangent, not so much fathers, but young boys. I think as a woman raising my son, I am quite conscious that he's going to be a man one day, if that makes sense. Like I am conscious about him understanding boundaries, him understanding like the word no, like, do you know what I mean? Because I think when I grew up, like a lot of boys, sexual assault, it's just regular. No, what did no mean to them?
And it wasn't even seen as sexual.
It wasn't seen as, sometimes rape was not seen as rape. Do you know what I mean? Like, actually what you're doing a bit too much, but you think because the end goal is to get what you want, you can get it by any means. Do you know what I mean? So I think I'm quite conscious of my son, like, so he's only 3, he doesn't always get it. But even like yesterday, he was with his cousin, she's a girl, and he's bare like grabbing her, she's like, no, and he's not, and I'm not, listen, no, he's his cousin, do you know what I mean? They're even age mates, there's nothing. But I just think you need to be able to have the emotional intelligence to understand when people, when you're in someone's personal space, when you're doing a bit too much, and not to like victimize or criminalize, he's still a child. But I just want to have that understanding that actually you can't always be all up in people. They may not want it, you know?
I think touching on that, my perspective, like raising my son, is that, and I always say this, I want him to be well-rounded. So yes, knowing boundaries, but also having attributes that make you an asset to whatever situation you're in, or society in general. So, you know, like the typical things that make you a man, like be assertive, but be able to listen, you know, take care of yourself, like be well groomed, have manners, have respect, you know, just always step into any situation with your best foot forward. These are just things that from my perspective as a mother, I just feel like I want my son to have. But then there's obviously things that as a mother, I can't teach him. So like, maybe like I can say, this is how you should speak to women, or, you know, when you want to talk to people in general, this is how you should approach it. But actually, as a man, it may be better for him to hear that from his father. And I guess then he can decide what's best for him and take a bit of both and go with it. But I do feel like it's important to instill the best foundation possible. Do you know what I mean? And I guess for those mothers that don't have that male influence, like single parents that are actually doing it by themselves, you only have your view and your opinions that you can put into your child. And it is what it is, isn't it? Like the hope is, regardless of what you say, children will always take what's best for them and go forward with it. So we just hope that, you know, you're able to give them the best advice.
It will be enough, ultimately.
It's always got, it has to be. It has to be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And then our family, we've got teachers.
Even
the TV got, it'd be influencing me sometimes. That's an interesting way to see things.
And then also just to add to that, even though we seek influence from other things like TV and teachers, giving our children the ability to know what's good influence and what's not good influence. That's important as well. Because they don't know, then they'll just be getting influenced by randoms, and it's
That's really random again, guys. We're watching the show. I won't say the show's name because last time you guys are getting on to me. Anyway,
she's come again.
And then the guy, he was young, and I think he like just started having sex, maybe like 15 years old. So his big brother and the big brother's girlfriend sat him down to give him a relationship advice. Are you laughing? Because everything's about sex. Oh my days! No mind it. Guys, we're the mature ones anyway. It's a natural part of life anyway. And the advice that the older brother's girlfriend gave was so good.
What was it?
She was like basically, obviously him that said it, one of them said it. Basically, obviously you go into relationships and you're trying to protect your heart, but as a man, you need to also protect the heart of that girl. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, yeah. Like, obviously, guys, you know, like, girls want to protect our heart, but it's very easy for us to, more so we're the ones that give it up freely. You give the whole heart to the guy.
Yeah.
So actually, the guy needs to, protect your own heart, but also, if you like this girl, have her heart in mind as well.
Yeah.
So that when you're doing stuff, you know that actually you could be breaking her heart, not just thinking of yourself. So, and that was a good advice for a 14, 15-year-old boy.
Yeah.
It's funny because I just saying these things. I feel like with obviously our kids are all very young, but especially our boys. But I do think, I always say to myself, I want to make you the best husband you can be. I want you to be the best father you can be. These things are always on my mind. Whilst I haven't started doing those steps, because obviously that comes with age, isn't it? As you grow older, I know what to talk to you about, or maybe even to tell you to go and talk to your dad about, or your dad to talk to you about, blah, blah. But in your head, my mind is always, I need to make you the best version of yourself, like the best version of a dad. I need to make sure you understand what it is to be a good dad. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm always it's a big thing for me, like, I don't know, like, just making sure you're better than anybody else I've even ever met. Like,
it's a lot of pressure.
But I just feel like if I have that in the back of my head, I can only, I'm not going to give you everything, because at the end of the day, no one's perfect, but my aim is to give you the best I can possibly give you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It falls back onto what T said about the emotional intelligence. I think that's what it really like lands on, because when you've got that emotional intelligence, I feel like you can be that person. You know what I mean? To be able to perceive and understand. I think women we say we're very complex, isn't it? And I think for a man, you know, one of the most things that happens in relationships is men not understanding the woman, or understanding her little cues, or when she's upset. Or for me, I want my son to really be
understand.
Very sensitive.
That's what I mean.
I want him to be able to understand that and be able to show love as well. Because another thing with, you know,
but you know what's interesting? What you've all kind of said is that raising your son to be a father and a husband, that hasn't even crossed my mind. In all honesty, maybe because Isaiah is still very young, isn't it? But I know one day it's going to happen.
Mikhail's literally only 3. But in my head, like, sometimes at my weddings, I'm like, this I'm going to do mama.
Really? I don't think that far. No, I haven't.
I need to look banging.
Let's go. She's already got her caterer for the whole day. Yeah, I haven't thought that far ahead. No, I don't. Like, I'm very much of the mindset of, and I keep saying I need him to be well-rounded. Because I want him to be a solid individual before I can picture him being with anybody else. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Making a solid individual will make, a solid father.
Yeah.
But there are extra attributes that Taconi was saying about just being emotional intelligence. Because the thing is, if you don't teach your child, they're going to get that teaching from somewhere else. Yeah, but if they rub shoulders with someone, for example, who kind of internalizes their feelings, they're just going to believe that that's just what you do, just internalize your feelings. But that's all part of making that well-rounded individual. Because even for example, if Isaiah hurts himself, his dad would be like, you don't need to cry, like, you're a boy, like, confirm it. And I'm like, no man, leave him. He's there, baby, if you want to cry, okay, come, it's fine, don't worry. Oh my God, it's okay. You know, like, it's fine, let me know how you feel. Or he'll be angry. I'll be like, go to your room, be angry. Oh, I'm so angry. I'm like, okay, why are you angry? You did the wrong thing, is it me? So, do you know, I'm happy for him to express how he feels. And again, this is all in learning and teaching. I haven't raised a boy before, so I don't know, it's trial and error. But it's in my head, okay, be able to express how you feel, because yes, when you get older, in any situation, whether it's a relationship or even at work, you need to be able to express how you feel. Do you know what I mean? So that's me trying to raise him to be a solid individual. I guess as he gets older, I may start envisioning him being with somebody else. Like, oh my God, this is going to be a great husband. He's so caring. Because he'll be like, oh, mum, you look like a queen. And I'll be like, oh. Exactly. But when my girl says that to me, honestly, I see myself as raised a girl.
Yeah. And I'll even look at his dad and be like, you see? Can you see? Like,
Maybe saying all of this, but the ladies love Isaiah. I've seen it with my own.
No, don't even try that. Roman as well, the two of them together, man. We went to the Natural History Museum.
I took them somewhere.
But this girl, let me talk to you. As you can see, we're all 4 different ladies. We're one, but we're different. All right. Because Tokuma's the one who knows how to see when guys like girls. She's the one who told me. What did you say? Makai fancies someone fancies Makai. No, I was unsettled.
No, the party.
Was that a party?
Yeah, it was Azariah and Makaya. They were playing. They were really.
She was like, Ayoba.
Azariah very much.
No, listen. I was like, Makai's too young. She was like, Ayola, they have feelings. I was unsettled at home, and my mind was just like, I can't say this one knows when the young children be fancying each other. She knows when they know how to flirt.
But you're like that as well.
I'm looking Isaiah fancies Tiana. They're siblings. It's fine.
It's just some sort
Yeah,
of
you just, but you know it.
much.
You know it. You remember when you were a child.
You're taking a liking to this person.
Yeah,
You make
yeah.
it in a week's time.
Yeah, but you need to take your mind back to when you were a child. Yeah, but obviously they don't know the feelings.
I can't lie to you.
It's always to play. That's all they know.
That's all they know.
Play.
But even in playing, even in
This
playing.
girl over all the other girls.
Right.
Why is this girl?
Yeah.
Maybe it's
This is why she wants to live in her life.
Don't forget, we're animals. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not an animal.
We're animals. So
I tell you what, I just remembered.
some things are just driven by instinct. Do you know what I mean? The same way children, they just all of a sudden they start calling, they start walking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's God that puts it in them from before. It's just there.
I can't lie, it's a scary event.
know what
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't want to bring it to sexual. I don't want to make
No,
it.
it's not.
Yeah.
But it's more like the spirit that people carry. You know that sometimes you meet someone
And you're just drawn to them.
you just they're all right. You understand?
Yeah.
If you're talking about Azariah, and Micaiah, Azariah is a very, very good spirit. She's
Are you trying to say you're not Mommy, baby, wedding.
It's Darwin. You're looking to bed.
I've just been looking at Micaiah. But literally, like, you know, like when we meet people, even as adults, if you're kind of sensitive, there's some people you meet and you're, I really like this person.
Yeah, just tell me.
Like, it's very natural. It doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
nothing sexual or anything like that. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Tukumo say, yeah, man, they be getting the girls, man. The girls be liking them.
Anywhere they go, anywhere they go, it's the two of them. All of a sudden, there's one
The
girl
man
coming,
them.
and the girl always drag Isaiah to her dad or her mom. Every time we dragging him to meet the parents. It's that chocolate tone.
true.
They're loving it.
They don't know that they'll just be talking about Sonic all night. That's it.
When I say seeing like a father or the husband of my child, I'm not saying like 3-year-olds. I'm telling her to be a husband or father. Please don't get me wrong. Like,
That's cool,
let the
so
child be
yeah.
attractive.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that you just see some things and it just makes your heart warm.
You envision their
This can be
future.
a good,
Yeah.
it's just natural. Like, and I don't know. Like for me, I just feel like this is your child, isn't it? And I just think this boy is a good boy.
Yeah.
This boy is kind.
Yeah.
He knows how to. You know what I mean? He sees
he's
things, and I just want to
caring,
nurture that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I
to
wanna-
develop it.
There's so much empathy.
That's
Like,
it.
you okay?
The expression of love, exactly. I love it, and I just want to. Do you know what I mean? I just
Protect it at all costs.
Protect it.
Because as they grow, they may look at you and be like, why is she making noise today? That's what we don't want.
Exactly. No one's checking. Like, sorry, you need to check.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think this whole video is obviously generally about raising sons to be great fathers, to be great individuals and great role models. That's what I was saying, great role models.
Yes.
And equally as us as parents, being intentional about who our children are around, particularly obviously even girls and boys, they need to have other perspectives as well to life to make a well balanced child.
Can I just add
go for it.
one thing that sticks with me that I was like, okay, you've got a daughter, to Kiana's dad, you've got a daughter. Every year on Valentine's Day, he brings her flowers and like a teddy or chocolate. And for me, I just feel like if you have a girl, particularly because I didn't have that, so I'm very much like, my daughters, they're not going to feel like they're lacking anything. With my daughters, I feel like their dad should be their first love. No one should love them in terms of a man figure more than their father and vice versa. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, Valentine's Day is all about love. Yeah, you as her first love, you need to set the pace, you need to set tone. So no guy's gonna come into my daughter's life and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy you this, I'm gonna take you to the chicken and chip shop and buy. No, actually, my dad was taking me Hakkasan before I could even. Not that those things matter, but you know what I mean. There's a level. Yeah. I love that. Yes, because there's no man that's gonna come and make my daughter feel like they're doing the most for her, and for her to be like, oh my god, I'm so in love. No. So yeah.
Sundays. Is there a Mum and Sunday thing?
I do Mother-Daughter Day. I haven't started doing Mum and Sundays.
Yeah, I don't think.
But I don't think it's generally a thing. I think because I do Mother-Daughter Days, I may do it, but that it'll be very different to how I tailor my Mother-Daughter Days.
Of course, you have Mum and Sundays. You take him to watch Sonic.
I do. But then I also take him with his sisters. We're not just one-on-one time.
Because I know there's a lot of like
Father Sundays. Yeah.
It's more to get with dads she's spending a lot of time
Yeah.
with the children because it impacts.
So Isaiah and his dad do things like, obviously when they general things, which I'm sure most dads do, like take him for a haircut. I don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
If he needs a haircut, I'm sending him to his dad's. If like things like just things that I feel like dads should do, I'm just like, I do believe in roles when it comes to parenting for certain things. I do believe it's father that should do it. So yeah, like that's just
I know we're gonna wrap up, but one random thing, are you gonna teach your sons like chivalry and stuff like that?
100%. 100%.
So, like standing on the outside of the road, opening doors, pulling down chairs.
Maybe not so much.
Or I guess I don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
My chivalry won't be to the extent of like opening doors, and even though I think that's nice to do, it just sometimes it just doesn't seem realistic. It just seems a bit like, okay, it's a bit much. Do you know what? And that's my personal opinion. I do feel like there's certain things like standing on the outside of the road. I do that with my children because obviously they're younger, isn't it? But I do feel like, yes, like even sleeping closer to the door, like just being ready to protect, those type of things. You know what I mean?
I never thought.
Yeah, because if something happens, I feel like the man should be the first one to be able to be the closest. You know what I mean? That's just how. Yeah. You go fight them. I'll go get the kids. No, like.
I've chosen to sleep close to the door because I need to go out if the kids wake up in the night.
I'm like that.
Yeah, I'm happy to climb over. It's fine. I'm happy to climb over.
Oh yeah.
I don't like sleeping on that. Also because like I watched a lot of scary films growing up and under the beds and
the
stuff.
whole chivalry thing, I think we've the way we bring up our children. For example, like my brother would always take bags from my mum, open something for her.
Yeah, stuff like that.
It wouldn't be because I'm teaching you chivalry, because it'll be because of the way I've taught you full stop. Just culture and the way you should look after your parents or your family or a female generally. So I'd expect that they do that. If that makes sense.
Well, also
from that aspect.
What's your thoughts on like teaching them about, obviously they learn in school, but like periods and stuff like that? Do you think your son needs to know that type of information?
For me, it's a must. Sorry, like you live in my house, obviously. I like those kind of things. Like I want you to just know. Yeah, it's quite important to me.
Yeah, I think it's good to be knowledgeable. It doesn't hurt.
Don't be that ignorant guy in the class or that ignorant person.
Just don't know nothing.
Yeah, like just know and just. It's nothing. It's life, you know.
Yeah, it's real. It's life.
Yeah, I don't want to make it a big thing, but it just is.
It's a part of what it is.
Oh, like, do you know what I mean? It's just, you know, some things you just learn as a child just by. It's just normal. It's not a big lesson. It's just
And the child that knows about it, if like a girl in school had an accent, that's the child that's most likely to be like, oh, do you know what, go and sort yourself out. More so the guy who'd be like, oh my god, what is that?
Or like laughing and telling his friends.
Laughing. So you're teaching them to be a gentleman because you made them knowledgeable. So I suppose it has benefits, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't see it.
I guess a lot of these conversations will take place later on in life, isn't it? Right now, what we're concentrating on, that learn your book, speak nicely, have manners, your basics that you teach all your children, isn't it?
But also, so I'm now thinking of
go on.
Also, I guess I'm always, you know, like you want guys to be chivalrous, innit? But I always kind of tip in between the balance of that and then like seeing women as too helpless. Do you understand? Because on another step, I don't want my son to be sexist. Do you know what I mean? Already I can see my son, he listens to men more. And that already gets on my nerves because for what? And it's not even like, so even in the nursery, the male the teacher in a nicer way was, oh, you know, he picks and chooses who he wants to listen to. But really, I know you listen to Mr. Clark, you don't listen to Mrs. blah, 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 blah. And and it's not, I don't know, because the women are articulate. I mean, there's nothing like kind of damsel in distress about them. They're women that you should listen to, but there's already something. I'm not sure.
Sometimes I wonder if it's because us as women, we're constantly shouting or saying something all the time. You become a bit of a. It sounds bad, but pardon.
You just become oblivious.
It's like there's only right because you're like the music in the background. You're always making noise. Whereas dad, it's like you said, they're laid back, they're chill. So when they speak, it's like it only comes once in a while, so they hear it.
Maybe, yeah.
So I feel like maybe it's that. It may not be necessarily a bad thing that's been. It's not a bad thing that we're teaching them or nothing.
Yeah.
But I think just because, like us, we're preventative. Don't climb on that.
Yeah,
don't do this. Don't do that. Do you know what I mean? Because dad has waited till that moment. So it's like maybe because we're just so frequent with it.
Yeah. But I think that balance between chivalry and knowing that.
I think it's part teaching the child, isn't it?
Yeah, women are important. Like not women are important, but I mean we are important obviously. But women can do everything. Do you know what I mean?
But then on the flip side,
precious flower, but I'm not useless. Do you know what I mean? I'm a very useful precious flower. If that makes sense.
I guess the chivalry comes with is manners rather than help him
That's
because
what
she can't do
I was
it.
saying
Like she can open the door.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
more
That's what I mean about
Yeah.
manners and the upbringing, because you won't let someone take advantage of you. Like, and I believe when I bring up children that will be taken advantage of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know when it's a bit like, come on, babes, like what's up your hand? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's balance, isn't it?
It is a balance. It's interesting. Yeah.
Anyways, guys, we are finally done with this video. We hope you've enjoyed it. Please send us all your questions, any suggestions, video suggestions as well. Keep them coming. We hope you've enjoyed the video. Take care. That's it from us, Mums and Melanin.
Bye. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.
Bye.